So, my previous lecture was on how to use shortcuts in multiplication to be able to speeden up your multiplication and calculation. And I told you that the next lecture we will be doing would be to try and find out squares and square roots by shortcut methods so that you can save on time, because that is going to form a small part of a bigger problem. So you need to be able to do that. And for that, you need to be able to have a fair knowledge of your square numbers, at least up till 30. I put it up on the board so that you can quickly have a feel of it and take that down. So I think they should be visible. You are very familiar with the squares of the smaller numbers. We keep doing them up till 10 at least. 1, 4, 9, 16. I don't need to repeat that. But you can quickly take this down, or when you're watching the video, you can halt and see that at least you know most of the squares up till 30, because they're going to be of great use when you are going to be doing your sums. This is a request you, when it comes to squares, you should be knowing your squares at least up till 25 and your cubes at least up till 15. So hereafter we progress to finding squares by shorter methods. So as you can see, first we are going to be finding out tricks for finding squares. And the first trick that I'm going to be talking about is where the number ends in 5. What does that mean? Where the units place number digit is 5. So here, if I look at 25 square, again, the units place is 5. If you look at 105, the units place is 5. So how do I go about it? Here in this case, again, I split up the number into the units place and the tens place. What do I do with the units place number? For the last part of the number of the square, take 5 square. Where did I get the 5 from? The 5 was for the units place. So this is the 5 which I got here, and I write that as 25, right? For the first part, multiply the balance number, like 5 has been removed. So what is left after that? Multiply the remaining number. If it was say 1, 2, 5, we would have multiplied 12. Multiply with the next digit. The next digit here, the remaining number is 2. I multiply it with the next digit, which is 3, and I get 6. So what is my square going to be? The square is going to be 6 to 5. Therefore, the square of 2, 5 is going to be 6 to 5. Is that okay? Now let's just have a look at this one quickly. Again, what is the last part of my number going to be? From here it's going to be 25. And what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply the balance part of the number, which is 10. 10 into 11 is going to give me 110. If you wish, I'll just kind of write it for you again. If you are not very comfortable, just one example. So 10 is the balance number, which I picked up and I multiplied with the next digit, next number. So this becomes 110. And from here I have 2, 5. So the square of 105 is 11025. Easy. In fact, I think you could not make a mistake with this exercise. So just as we've been doing in the previous videos, I'm going to be giving you some questions to test whether you got the trick or not, so that you can then with confidence use that trick in some later questions. So for trick 1, your test is going to be comment answer for trick 1 and what you have to find out the square for. You have to find out the square for 115 whole square. I think it should be easy. Even in that much of time, but they've written the question, you should have already got the answer, right? So with this, we move on to the second trick. So here goes trick number 2. This is specifically for numbers which are close to 50. They can be either more than 50, close by, or less than 50, close by, like anything in the range of 51, 50 up till 59, or come below 50, 49, right up to 41. So let's look at the ones which are less than 50. I'll give you an example first here. Now, if I look at this, 48 is nothing but 50 minus 2. So I'm going to split this up. The last part of the number of the square number would be square of this 2. From where did I get this? This is the same 2 which was here, and I've written here also, right? The rest of the number, if you remember, now for when we had done the shortcuts for multiplication also, when it was close to 50, we had taken our base number as 25. So here I take 25. Or for all numbers which are close to 50, I'm going to be taking my base number as 50, whether it is less than or whether it is more than, and I'm going to be taking half of the square of 2. Is that okay? So that's going to be, sorry, just let me erase this. It's going to be 25. Square of 2 is nothing but 2. So half of that is going to be 2. How did I get this 2? So this is the same 2 which has come here. Again, I'm going to be putting it here. So what did you get here finally? You got this as 25 minus 2 is 23. And this here is 0, 4. So your final answer is 2304. Again, if I have to repeat, how did I get that? 48 is 2 less than 50. So that 2, the square of that is taken to give you 0, 4. And the base for 50 is 25. Minus that 2, you'll get 2304. Let's look at 52 square. Now this can be written as 52 can be written as 50 plus 2. So the last part is going to be the square of this. So 0 to square. And here this is going to be 25 plus this 2. So this is going to be 2704. As quick as that. You don't need a pen, you don't need a paper. You can do it in a matter of minutes. So the test for trick 2 for you is going to be comment answer for 47 square. Will you be able to do that in a matter of seconds? I just told you that you'll be able to do it in seconds, at the max 10 seconds. And I think I am true to my word if you've been able to understand. We shall now move on to trick 4. So the first trick was for numbers which ended in 5. The second trick was for numbers which are close to 50. Now the third trick is for any 2-digit number. Let's see how this works. This is quite akin, or this is quite similar to what we learned in the multiplication when we are talking about multiplying two 2-digit numbers. Let's have a look. I pick up 4. So square the units place. So this is 4 square, which is 16. Square the tens place, which is 2 square, which is gives you 4. Now in the middle, last time also, now in the middle, what's going to happen is you're going to be taking the cross product. Remember the two numbers here are 2, 4, 2, 4. So you're going to be taking the cross product, and you used to be adding that. So it's nothing but 2 times 2 into 4. So here it's going to be 2 times 2 digits, 2 into 4. From where did you get 2 and 4? 2 is this 2 here and this is the 4 here, right? So you get 2 times 2 into 4. 2 into 4 is 8. 8 into 2 is 16. So this is your 16 here. Now I cannot be having 41616 as my square of a 2-digit number. So what do? I am going to split this up, and this 6 is going to be added here and this 1 is going to be added here. Now the 6 is, mind you, not going to be added to the units place. Please remember it's going to be added to the nearest, so it's going to be added to the tens place. And what do you get? 6, you get 7. And this 1 gets added to the 4 here, and so this becomes 5. And your final answer is 5, 7, 6. Even I've been telling you that you need to be remembering your squares up till 30 at least. But this way also, it's just a refresher or a reaffirmation that you are going to be getting the same thing like this. Let's take up a bigger number and see. There may be some situations in which you get this middle number here, not as a 2-digit number, but as a 3-digit number. So let's see what you have to do here. Again, the first part and the last part, there's no problem to it. 9 square 81, 6 square 36. This has come as, if you want, I can write this as how you got it. This is just a thing. This was 6 square, this was 9 square, right? Now in the center, what do you get? The center is going to be 2 into 6 into 9. What is 9? 54 into 2, that's going to give you 108. Now this here becomes a 3-digit number. So what do you do with a 3-digit number? The ones digit is still going to go here. So let me take this here. And as I told you, I'm not going to be adding it to the ones place. I'm going to be adding it to the tens place. So this 8 gets added here, and the 10, which is the balance part, gets added here. This becomes 1, 8 plus 8 is 16, and this 36 plus 10 becomes 46. I still am not completed with my answer because I have a 3-digit number here. This should ideally be a 2-digit number because we're talking only of the square of this ones place digit. So this 1 has to obviously come here, and then this becomes 6 1 here, and this becomes 4 7 here. So the final answer is 4761, which is the square of 69. Is that okay? Now, have you followed the trick? What have we done? Add the units place digit, square the tens place digit. Here we've taken the cross product, multiplied with 2, split the number up. The units place digit is given to the unit side. The balance is given here. Is that okay? I think I have kind of, instead of taking, sorry, it's right. I've taken 10 here, but then this 1 also was a problem here because this should have been a 2-digit number. And so the 1 comes here and becomes 4761. Can I give you something as a test? So this one is going to come up as a test for you. You're going to comment for, what trick was this? For trick 3, the square of 31. Is that okay? So with this, we have ended the third trick and we're going to come to the fourth trick. So trick 3 is for finding squares of 3-digit numbers. So for finding squares, now let's start with an example. And let me for this take the example of 625. Example is 625 square. Now remember when we were doing the 2-digit numbers also, we kept the units place digits separately, and so this is what I'm going to do here again. And I'm going to then pick up the squares of the units place digits separately, the rest of the numbers separately, and in the middle I'll be taking something which is a cross product, if you remember. So here this is the square of the units place digit, which is nothing but 5 here. So 5 square gives you a 25. This side becomes square of the rest of the number. And what was the rest of the number here? It was 62. So we need to find out 62 square, which we'll just do in a minute. And for that, I'm going to be using trick 3, where we had learned how to find out the squares of 2-digit numbers. In the middle, what would we be having? We'd be having 2 times the first part into the second part. So that would be 62 into 5. Now, we're not going to try and make life difficult for us. Let's try and find out what are the factors which we multiply first will give us an easier product. So 2 into 5, 10, and 10 into 62 is just nothing but 620. Now let's come to this here. Now if I were to look at it, 62 I could have split up, and this would have been 2 square, this would have been 6 square. Here you would have 2 into 6 into 2. So this is 4, this is 36, and this would have given you 24. What do you do with this 24? Do you write it as 36244? No. Just remember what have we done? Now this being a square, we have to write it as a 2-digit number, and then we split it up. The 4 comes here and the 2 comes here. So this actually becomes 4, 4, and from here we've got 3, 8. So this whole thing has become 3844. Remember what I just told you, that when we are going to be doing trick 4, which is a square of a 3-digit number, we are actually going to be somewhere using trick 3 also, which is nothing but the square of a 2-digit number. Now let's see what we've got here. We've got 384, we've got 620, and we've got 25. So what have we got here? Let's just write this here with a little bit of space. From 62 square, we've got 3844. The middle number has come out to be 620. And the last square in the units place, we've got 25. So as usual, what are we going to do? We are going to split up the middle number to take the units place digit that side, and the balance we will get here. So 62 comes this side, 0 goes this side. 0 does not get added to the units place digit. It goes directly to the nearest here, so it is added here. And 62 again is added to not to this part but to the last digits here. So on adding this becomes 25. On adding this, 4 plus 2 gives you a 6. 4 plus 6 gives you a 10. Carry 1, this is 9, and so this becomes 390,625, which is the square of 625. So how about a trick test? So this is test for trick 4. So what are you going to do? You're going to comment your answer for trick 4 to find out the square of which you're going to find me the square of 3, 2. Is that okay? And rather than just doing it on a calculator and sending it across to me as an answer, I won't even mind if you send me an image in your comment section so that I understand you've actually done it using the trick. So with this, we are now going to move on to the other section. The first part we have done here, which was to find out the squares. So that over, we are now going to be moving towards the square root section, right? So here's for the first trick of finding out square roots using the tricks, right? So moving on now, we are now going to move towards finding square roots. We've already done squares, we've done 4 tricks, ones which end in 5, ones which are close to 50, one simply of finding out squares of 2-digit numbers, and then finally of 3-digit numbers. Now we move towards finding out square roots of any kind of digits, actually not 2-digit numbers, any numbers. But here the thing is that we're going to be finding out for perfect squares. Now what do you mean exactly by a perfect square? A perfect square, if I multiply a number into itself and I get the required number, like if I pick up the number say 625, 25 into 25 is 625. So 625 is a number which is giving me a product of two numbers, and it is a perfect square. That if I multiply a number to itself, it's neither extra, it's neither less, it is a perfect square. Now, if I've been told to find out the square root and I've been told it's a perfect square, how do I find it out? Remember in the beginning I'd shown you a chart where I'd asked you to be careful that you remember all your square numbers up till 30 at least. Let's just keep that in mind. If in my original number in the units place I have 1, say 1 square, 11 square, my units place in the square number is going to be 1. So 1 square is 1, 11 square is 121. If in the original number my units place is 2, in the square number my units place is going to be 4. Coming to the next one, 3, 3 square 9, 4, 4 square 16. So my units place digit is 6. Now 5 square 25. So the units place digit is 5. Now coming to 6 square. 6 square is 36. So it's still giving me a 6 in the units place. And so this becomes, where do I write 6? I write 6 here. Now when I am looking at the next one, 7 square 49, it's giving me a 9 here. So my 7, if I have in the units place in the original number, whether I have 3 or 7, it's going to give me a 9 in the units place in the square number, right? Let's come to 8. 8 square 64. What is the units place digit? 4. So still you have 4 here even when you are squaring an 8. 9, what's the square of 9? 81. Unit place digit 1. So I have 9 here also, whose units place digit is going to be 1. So this knowledge I'm going to keep in mind when I am trying to find out square roots of numbers. Now whenever I get a number, I'm going to keep the units place digit separately, because that is going to give me a hint what is the last number going to be in the original number. So if I have to find it out in the original number, my units place digit is either going to be 1 or 9 in this case. Now how do I find my 10th place digit? Look at this number here. I will have to take pairs of numbers. So 15. 15 is more than the square of which number? Let's have a quick look at the squares. 4 square is 16, but 16 is more. What's the left one? 3 square is 9. So this number is coming somewhere between 3 square and 4 square. So obviously my number is going to be either 31 or 39. So because 3, it's more than 3, it's less than 4. So it's either going to be 31 or 39. Now which one of them is it going to be? So what is the next digit after 3? The next digit after 3 is 4. 3 into 4 is 12. So that is the halfway mark as far as my square number goes. And 15, is it more than 12 or is it less than 12? This 15 here is more than the halfway mark. So it's going to be the bigger number. 15, the number which was given to me, is more than the halfway mark. And so my square root is going to be 39. So square root of 1521 is nothing but 39. A quick example here. Now let's look at the units place digit here, 9. When it's 9 here, the last units place digit in the original number has to be either a 3 or a 7. So ones and tens, it's either going to be a 3 or a 7, right? Now, having taken pairs. 72 is more than 8 square. So the number is going to be either 83 or 87. 8 into the next digit. Now my relevant digit was 8. So 8 into the next digit is 72. Now tell me, 72 is exactly the same as this. Uh, so I am going to be having it either as 83, sorry, we've been able to identify the units place digit. Now what about the tens place digit? So let's take pairs. Now 7. This number is 1 square 1, 2 square 4, 3 square 9. It is more than 2 square but less than 3 square. So it will either be 23 or 27. Right? How did I get the 2 again? Because my 7 is coming in between 2 square and 3 square. So my number is going to be between the 20s and the 30s. So either 23 or 27. Now which one of them? Let's multiply this 2 here which we've got into the next digit. Next digit, I'm not talking about this digit. I'm talking about the consecutive number after 2. So had I got 5 here, consecutive number after 5 would have been 6. Here, since my number is 2, consecutive number after that is 3. So 2 into 3 is 6. Now is 6. This is my halfway mark. So is my 7 above 6 or below 6? It is above 6. So it's going to be the bigger number. So this is my correct number. And so what is my final square root? The square root then becomes square root of 729 is 27. And you can also verify it from the chart that was given to you earlier, right? So this is how you are supposed to be finding out square roots of numbers. Can you also then find me another square root? And I'll give you a deliberately easy one so that you feel at home. You're going to find me the square root of 676 by this method. And this you're going to be commenting as answer for, let's call this trick 1 for squares. Trick 1. Comment as answer square roots. Trick 1. And trick 1, if you remember, it was for perfect squares. The next trick we're going to be doing is for imperfect numbers, where you are not going to find the square root to be a whole number. Is that okay? So here we have to find out square roots of imperfect squares. You know 400 is the perfect square and it's a perfect square of 20. The next one, 21, is 441. So obviously 409 is going to come somewhere in between. It's not the square of 20. It's not the square of 21. It is somewhere in between. So let's just try and find out how you're going to do this in a shortcut. So this is nothing but 40 plus 9. What is the square root of, 400? It is 20. Now, what's going to be happening to the balance part? I'm going to write it as 9 upon this 20. Okay. You know how to deal with fractions into 5 into 5. So that's going to give me 20 plus 18 upon 100, which is nothing but 20.18 approximately. So this is the square root of 409 in a flat 5 seconds. You don't need to do the entire process. You can do it very, very simply. Very, 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 very quick. And this is for your major calculations. It will give you at least a correct thing up till 2 digits. Now coming up to the next one, which is 3619. Again, 3600 is a perfect square. It's a perfect square of 60. So obviously 3619 is not a perfect square. So what do? I write this as 3600 plus 19. So this is 60 plus 19 upon 60. I just picked up this example to show you that it's not always that you're going to be able to do the same thing which we did here and convert this into a decimal very quickly. So let's try and divide 60 by 90 in our upper column. I get 180 here. So that's 3, that's 1. Now if I put this is 6. I'm not going to go beyond that because it's going to be a couple of sixes. So this is 60.3166, etc., etc., which is 60.317 approximately. So this is the way you find out your perfect square roots for your imperfect squares. Can I give you a test? So your test is going to be for 2520. So trick 2 square roots. Answer for square root of 2520. So with this, I come to this interesting lecture and I'm quite sure you would have liked it. And not only liked it, you should use it as much as possible because somewhere you will be using these in your calculations, whether it be now, whether it be later, especially when you start having to do your volume surface area sums or your areas, you will have a lot of square root calculations, even could be in compound interest. So use them as frequently as possible so that you become familiar with methods and you are able to use them to your benefit. If you have any kind of queries, you know where to get back to me. And please access the previous lecture as well because that will give you a lot of tricks on multiplication. Because these are two things which we really sometimes struggle with. I will be taking up a lecture on division shortcuts as well. See you then and best of luck to you.